Alright, well, good morning. Just been cranking on. I can't believe how much I've got to do. It's so hectic, and we just had a massive batch of orders go out, so that was a big thing this morning. And now I'm just cranking through what I got to get through. So customers need certain things from me that I don't need to go into. We're looking at a new sponsor over in Ireland, so I'm just trying to work out how to get that sorted out with imports and all that jazz. So a bit of a headache there, and then I've got to book in a meeting with my bookkeeper to make sure that I'm able to reconcile things correctly for certain purchases. So with that all said, I've still got tons of client work and that to catch up on. Lots of little things that I wasn't able to do when I was away, which is kind of painful. One thing I want to do this week is look at getting someone to handle some more of the admin stuff, because it's taking up so much of my time, and I'm just not quite sure if it's going to be something that I'm going to be able to handle as this starts to grow. So not enough time to do it, but we're going to keep pushing on. This week, I want to hit a goal of at least 25,000 for this week. So the goal is 25k. We obviously had 20,000 goal for the last week. Didn't make that. So we've got to make that up this week plus a little bit more. Let's go. Lots happening and nothing but the top, baby. We can't forget what the goal is. This is where discipline takes over and motivation goes out the window, because I don't want to do anything. I'm tired and I have to do it. So discipline mode activated. Well, that was a surprise. I just had my auntie and uncle come up from New South Wales and surprise us here at the house, which was pretty cool. So always good when those things happen. You gotta love the family when they come, so that's really cool. Something I was just thinking about, and I've just had a bit of a realization that I must just be on a different wavelength, because obviously I'm spending a lot of time with Finn and trying to understand where his mindset's at. And when I'm talking to him, he knows that he wants something, but I guess it's just really hard for him to make that decision. I'm trying really hard to convince him and help him out and all that stuff, but it's like, I think I'm just spending too much time doing that. And then another thing that I'm doing is, for example, my sister wants to buy a gaming computer to run the Sims game on it, and to me, I'm like, well, you want to move out, you want to make more money, you want to do all these things. So here's my piece of advice on how you can do that. And it starts with, not playing games to start with. Spend that time you want to play on games, building a better income stream or another income stream, because what you're doing is just copping out a little bit. And it's me showing love and saying, look, try this instead. But I guess at the end of the day, everyone's got their own thoughts. They make their own decisions, and you can't tell them what the right and wrong things are. They have to figure it out themselves. And I'm spending so much time with people trying to help them understand a better version of it, or an alternative that they can at least think about. Not that my way is the right way, but you can think about things differently and have better goals and do better things. But someone wants to do something, they're going to do it, so you can't change that. And I guess that's what I'm just learning, and it kind of hit me just now. I'm like, I'm doing all these things and it's for no benefit to me, just goodwill, because I feel like advice can be helpful sometimes, because I love getting advice on things I can do better, things I'm not doing so great, new angles to look at things. I love that because it's outside of my scope. And when I interpret it, I go, yes, no, maybe, awesome. And I grow from that. So yeah, just a bit of food for thought there on what it's like. I guess I'm just in a big mindset shift, and I love it. And it's forced. I've forced myself into this mindset, and I love it way more than the mindset I was in before. However, another cool thing that I'm just doing here, and it's separate from my work, but it ties in perfectly. I've just been invited by Meta to join Meta is Facebook, to join their agency education program, which is to get verified with Facebook so I can become a blue tick Meta advertiser. So that's really cool. I'm going to go through now and apply for it, and complete any programs that I have to complete so I can become a legitimate Meta affiliate agency. So really cool. So that's one thing I'm going to do today, and we'll see what that entails. But other than that, I got to grind against the clock here because I need to get a gym session. I've been slack because I got sick on the weekend. But here we are, and we're going to keep pushing. So happy Monday, everyone. Let's rock and roll. Something I've just been doing every Monday, P&Ls, invoices, all that shit. And a lot of people online that, you see when you scroll on Instagram talking about, oh, I made $50 million, I made $100,000, I made $10,000 this week. They never talk about how the fact of that income is generated through a business. So it's not about, oh my gosh, if I get a job, I only make, $1,000 a week. Oh no, that's so shit. This guy made $10,000 a week. That $10,000 is revenue generated. You still have to pay exuberant taxes on that. You have to pay GST if you're in Australia. You have to make sure that you're profitable on those things, and they don't ever talk about that. So that $10,000 isn't $10,000 cash. That's probably $7,000 in cash, or maybe even less depending on what they're doing. What I am doing here is this big $500,000 revenue goal. That's obviously just revenue, and the big part of that is these things to say, yeah, I can make $500,000, but if I have to spend $700,000 to make $500,000, there's no point. I'm just making revenue numbers for the sake of it. I'm actually losing money. So every week I check and run exuberant reports on my own outside of my accounting software to see week on week, what am I spending and what am I generating? And every week so far, there's been bumps, but I am generating positive cash flow. So those numbers you see, not all of it is profit, but I am generating a healthy amount of profit from those things, and I am pumped on that. Something I get to do every Monday. It's like a pulse check to say, okay, am I on track to actually making money, not just generating money? So there's so much to online business, and this is just like a business, but I'm running it off a laptop instead of, having a warehouse and doing it that way, or running a retail store. So really good to see the pulse checks are good. If we can continue to scale this thing, that means the profit in my pocket gets bigger and bigger, and I really can't wait to start making some serious cash-ish. Let's keep pushing. I've got 2 hours until I have to go to the gym. One thing I always want to talk about is I say, I have to go to the gym at this time, because the gym that I go to, it's like CrossFit style. So they run scheduled classes, meaning I have to book into a time slot and then turn up to that time slot. So it's not like a gym where I can just walk in whenever I feel like it. My session's booked in for 5:15. So, and then we're going to come back, and I know tonight's going to be a busy one because my auntie and uncle showed up. So we're going to obviously probably go to dinner and catch up with them for a bit. So we'll see what happens for the day's end, but we're going to keep pushing no matter what, because I get to spend some time with family, but we also get to keep pushing forward on this goal, and I have big plans. This is only the beginning. The 0 to 500K is just the beginning. It's a little checkbox for me to say I can generate serious money. I'm a real player. And once we hit that goal, you wait and see what's next. That's what's going to be crazy good. So let's freaking go, baby. I'm on the way to the gym now. And one thing that I was just kind of thinking about, which I thought was pretty funny, is that, let me pause this. There's so many good things about running a business or being your own boss that I tend to take for granted now that I'm my own boss. When the days are bad, I go, you know what? It's not that bad, because everything I buy and everything I own now is a fucking tax write-off. You don't get that privilege when you work for someone else, right? That's one. Second of all, when you work for yourself, you love your boss, because your boss does everything you want them to do, because you're the fucking boss. You just deal with yourself. You don't have to deal with some other idiot that doesn't give a shit about you as a person, or doesn't care about your goals and aspirations and what you want to do with your life, all that shit. Another thing is, although you work a ton harder at the start, and that start period is longer and shorter depending on what you do, you pretty much get to make your own rules. And when I say your own rules, it means I have to go to the dentist tomorrow. I don't have to ask anyone to go to the dentist. I just go to the dentist because, well, I'm the boss. And I know that I'll have to make up that time elsewhere if I want to get what I want to get done. So it's totally up to you what you do with your life. And it's kind of confusing that it takes everyone so long to get that perspective. Even with me, I didn't have that perspective before, but I have 100% control over the outcomes that I have now. Input equals output. Whatever I put in, I get back out, and it's not easy. The easiest thing is making the decision to do it. The hardest thing is obviously sticking it out, being consistent, and making it happen. That's the hard part. When I look back on this in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, and I go, why was I so successful? Well, I'm so successful because I did what no one wants to fucking do, and that's work hard. And it's becoming really evident. The more I meet with people, the more I speak to people. Some of them say they want to do stuff, others want to do stuff. And then when it comes to actually doing it, it never amounts to anything. I'll have to snip a bit and put it on the screen of that clip I sent to Ali from Alex Hormozy the other day. And it's pretty much saying, when shit hits the fan as an entrepreneur or a business owner, you look around and you go, oh fuck, who's gonna help me with this? Oh shit, It's me. Again.
It won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are. But you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But at the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear. And arguably, that fight is a harder fight to win than beating a dragon when you have a nuclear bomb and 6 nations behind you. And so it's not even like the size of the hardship, it's just also the resources and how few of them you have, and how so much of the beginning is literally burning the one thing you have, which is time. Because you have no leverage. You don't have the money to pay other people to help you. No one can work out for you. Doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you, and then you're like, fuck, it's me again.
And I'm starting to realize the truth behind that, because every time I've done anything in my fucking last 8 months, just been me. And the more I look around for other people to say, oh, this is so cool, does anyone else want to do this with me? I'll help you and give you a head start, unlike what I had when I first started, and it will be way easier. They go, oh yeah, nah, they say it, but then the actions speak louder than the words. They don't actually want to do it. They just like the idea of it. So yeah, I've had a very insightful day today, and I think it's just from coming back from Sydney and just realizing what my life is like now, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like I said, I'm prepared to risk absolutely everything I have for this to work, because I know that the sacrifices I make now are so worth the success that I'm going to achieve. It's going to be insurmountable. You cannot compare the risk to the gain, because the gain is subliminal. And it's determined by my willingness to never give up. And with that said, I'm gonna go pump a gym session, send myself to the grave in this one, because my fitness is lacking and I need a wake-up call. You know what? Every time I go to the gym, I remember where I was at, and I was so much fitter about 6 months ago. Then now I'm just not as fit, and I just can't do what I used to be able to do, and that gap is really frustrating for me. But sometimes it's gotta be a bit unbalanced. You can't do everything perfectly, and I much prefer maintaining my health at the level that I can and thriving in business, not the other way around. I don't want to maintain the level of business that I have and grow my health and fitness. I'd rather maintain my health, keep my fitness where it is, and focus on pushing the needle in business, because that is a long-term goal for me. Obviously health is just as important, keeps the discipline there, but it doesn't need to take up my whole day. So it's all perspective. Another thing that I just saw on Instagram was one of my competitors decided to post a video on what they do in a day, and it was a really good feeling, because my competitors are teams of people, and there's this fire that's lit inside of me that I'm just so glad that it's single-handedly just me, and I'm getting the same results as they are in a whole team. And I have this weird good feeling about how hard I'm working. I know that I'm doing more than they're doing as a group of people. So as soon as I get some more people behind me at the same level that I'm working, we're going to be unstoppable. The fact that I'm already working harder than they are as a sole human being is really good, and I just need to keep going, because business is war to me, and I need to make sure that I come out on top. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that happens, and the best part about that is if I make sure that I do everything I can, I will come out on top, I will be the best, and I will be unstoppable, because that's who I am and what I'm building. So you got to feed that delusion and back it up with hard work and determination, because affirmation without discipline is just delusion. You need to make sure that shit happens. That delusion creates actionable things that you'll do to work towards that, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm creating the delusion, believing in it, and then taking actions to feed that delusion. Because without any action, I'm not doing anything, I'm just dreaming. Extreme delusion and 100% effort, it's the perfect concoction for success. So I'm gonna go get something to eat and get back into it. Alrighty, so today was a bit up and down, how you going side to side. Part of what happens here, when you lose a bit of momentum, it's much harder to get that momentum back. So we're just getting that snowball up to speed again. We didn't completely come to a halt, but the snowball slowed down. So what we're doing, we're pushing it along. Once again, get that movement happening so we can make these big jumps every single day. Now with that said, I'm going to show you the numbers here on the board, and we can call it a day. 19,850, 655. So that is a pretty damn good day. So we're gonna hit 25k by the end of the week. That's only $5,144.45, and we are on like Donkey Kong. And with that said, we're going to see you on the dial tomorrow. Let's go.